Hi, my name is Ella Bauer, and the piece I've chosen to talk to you about today is called The 500-Year Itch by Shelley Nero. So, a little bit of background on what this piece is. It is a major retrospective exhibition that is compiled of many different types of art, including photography, film, painting, installation, sculpture, as well as mixed media practices. This piece contains over 50 or 70 different works, some of which are in series. That brings the total to 136 pieces included in her art, in her work. These different pieces came from all over, including from private as well as public collections from across the United States and into Canada. Furthermore, this piece does also contain a 304-page publication that is included with text by authors that Shelley Nero has chosen. So a little bit of background on who Shelley Nero is. She is a member of the Turtle Clan of the Mohawk Nation. She was born in Niagara Falls and now resides in Brantford, Ontario, that's where the work from Canada does come from. She graduated from the Ontario College of Art, following that with her master's degree in fine arts from the University of Western Ontario. Her work involves many different forms of art, some of which I've mentioned before, such as photography, painting, beadwork, and film. Her main focus, however, is on the impact of post-colonial mediums on Indigenous people. So what is the significance of this piece? The 500-Year Itch is Shelley's career-spanning exhibition where she has presented many different themes, such as identity, resilience, and history. And then to be a little more specific, her career does include 4 decades, so this is a 4-decade spanning exhibition. A goal of hers through this piece was to include humor and have a playful take on this piece so that her audience can really connect with the lived experiences of Indigenous people, more specifically Indigenous women, as well as their communities. Another piece of significance to include is that while this piece does address themes of resilience, it is also a goal of hers to help promote healing for Indigenous people. This piece isn't just for non-Indigenous people to come in and take a look and have a little bit of understanding of what it means to be appropriated, but it is also a way for Indigenous people to see that they are being represented, especially women in Shelley's case. So a little bit of context on what you see in this piece. As I had mentioned before, this piece is composed of 136 different pieces, as well as the 304-page publication. So throughout these, we are seeing, as I had mentioned before, photography, film, painting, installation, sculpture, as well as the mixed media practice. This is also accompanied by a lot of bold colors to capture someone's eye and imagery that draws the viewer's attention into these pieces. Outside of the photography and paintings, there are also many different films that accompany her piece. Some of the films would include titles such as Honey Moccasin, It Starts With a Whisper, The Incredible 25th Year of Mitzi Bear Claw, and her feature film called Cafe Daughter. So the function of this piece has many different avenues that you could take. Shelley is bringing awareness to a multitude of themes such as memory, performance, and actors, as well as relations and family. And through doing this, we are also seeing some of our core themes come into light, such as resistance and cultural identity as well. One main component of her work in 500-Year Itch is the representation that she gives Indigenous women and girls, as I had kind of mentioned before. And on this slide, I had included a quote by Shelley. As I developed my skills, I realized the portraits of Indigenous women were limited. Realizing that, I discovered I could go anywhere. The sky was the limit. So she has said before that her persistent vision is to represent Indigenous women and girls by advocating for self-representation. Doing this, she utilizes a highly empathetic approach in her art, which in turn does help viewers understand the issues that she is bringing to their attention. So looking at the impact that this piece has had, there are a lot of themes present. Not all of them are listed on this slide, but some of them would include cultural identity, resistance, stereotypes, survivance, and colonialism. And then I do want to talk about resistance a little bit more at the start. It's a theme that is present in a lot of different pieces in this whole work. She doesn't just stick to one theme in her pieces. You can see each theme in one single piece. So I think she does a great job at doing that. So looking a little more closely at some of the themes that I had mentioned, stereotypes are shown in this piece right here. This piece is directly addressing stereotypes. More specifically, she's addressing popular culture stereotypes by dressing up as Marilyn Monroe in The 7-Year Itch. And that title is what gave her the idea for the title of her work, with 500 referring to the fact that 500 years ago is when Christopher Columbus discovered America. That also ties directly into colonialism, as well as showing the stereotypical views of Indigenous women. So like I said, not just one theme is present in one piece of art. You can see here on the far left, if you look at the picture, is Shelley Nero dressed up as Marilyn Monroe. The middle picture is a picture of her from a family photo album, and then the picture on the left is her today. Moving on to survivance, this is a picture of Shelley's mother with her children. This piece of art is showing survivance more in the form of passing down views and traditions to younger generations to keep cultural identity alive. You can see on the outside of the picture, the beadwork is meant to highlight women's artistic abilities, and then if you see the turtle on the left side of the picture, that is meant to connect to the fact that Nero is a member of the Turtle Clan. Moving on to cultural identity, this piece here shows Nero's personal experience with identity as a Mohawk woman. This piece is titled Abnormally Aboriginal, and it is a way of showing cultural identity and how it can be perceived or constructed. This piece suggests that Indigenous people are being misrepresented through stereotypes, and it is also a way of empowering Indigenous people through different roles or identities. So you can see here, she has herself labeled as abnormal and normal in this picture. And then lastly, colonialism is another theme that I wanted to talk about. And this piece specifically, it directly confronts historical violence against Indigenous people very clearly. You know, there's no room for misrepresentation of what the meaning behind this piece is. It is also a great way to catch the eye, so I think she did a really great job on this. But overall, as I had said, not just one piece has one theme connected to it. You can see resistance throughout all of these. You can see stereotypes or colonialism throughout all of these. So I think overall, Shelley did a very great job at representing the stereotypes of Indigenous people. And then these are my sources.